an honor to be here. Let me start this interaction with a question that, has any one of you been told that your ideas or your thoughts are unconventional or downright crazy? At any point in time, has this been told to any one of you? Because if it is, it impacts in two formats. First is, it actually makes you rethink or reevaluate whether you are actually thinking crazy and your ideas are that good or that bad. And the second is, if it is that crazy, why not do it? Let me give you an insight about what the new perception of crazy should be. I think crazy has been considered as a bad word, and I would like to give a new perspective to the whole crazy scenario. Because if it's crazy and if it's madness, then there is method to the madness. And let me give you some examples from my own life also on the method to the madness. So, a 22-year-old guy an engineer walks into a new branch, like any other bank branches, and has been inducted through the different counters of the bank or a branch. Like this is a demat account, there is a forex counter, there is a cash counter, and inducted to all the counters of the branch. About 15-20 minutes this goes on, and then there was some monologue. Obviously the guy who is actually inducting, there's a monologue happening, and then he asks, like you would ask, is there any other question that you would want to ask? And the first question that the 22-year-old guy asks is, what should I do to get to the next level? And how soon can I get to the next level? That was me, and it was considered downright arrogant and egoistic probably by people. And some people were actually shocked also that this is your first day, and you're an engineer, you don't even know anything about banking, you don't even know what debit and credit means. But today they are obviously my friend, and whenever I get elevated in the corporate ladder, this is the one statement that each one of them keep on reminding me that, the first day that you entered into the branch, this is what you asked. It was considered unconventional, it was considered to be a little crazy to ask such questions. But at the same time, I think it's important for you to realize that what do you want? Why would I do engineering and get into a finance job, and what is it that I want to get out of it? That's very important. I was traveling recently with, usually travel economy only. So I was traveling, and there was a 21-year-old guy sitting next to me. And he was like, I had this MBA sorted out in UK with one of the good colleges actually, and I really like that college. And I dropped out of it, because I want to be a dropper who made it big in life. And he was 6'2", pretty decent looking, nice to talk to. He might have a recipe of his own for what he's thinking for. But it shocked me a little bit because my recipe is way too different than what he probably mentioned throughout the flight. And for 2 hours of flight, he had a lot of inputs to give that how he's going to make it big in life. This generation is very, very good. In fact, the thought process is very clear. They have some good pointers and good actionables. But then when I think back about my generation, my own journey, I feel that what is the method that I have used for this madness? And I was also considered to be way too unconventional for the ideas. So after 22 years of age, after being in the branch banking for a while, and then 24 years, 2 years down the line, I'm already an operations head, managing about 50-60 guys, a large branch, which again, I was the youngest operations manager to manage such a large branch. And I was 8 months into this operations head role, branch operations head role. And there was an opportunity for a branch head of the first branch that I joined, which was considered to be A category branch. So there were categories of branches. D or new used to be the first branch, and then C, then B, then A, and A plus. So a new branch manager, when is to become a branch manager, is to be for a new branch totally, or a D category branch. So there was an opportunity to become a branch manager of an A plus category branch, and I was like, I'm 8 months into this operations, 2 years of experience of banking and finance, and I really want to be the branch manager. Okay. I was predominantly the operations and the audit guy, because that's what I had learned over the last 2 years with banks. So when I went to my boss and I said that I want to be the branch manager of this branch, he was gobsmacked. He was like, you're 24 and you've just had 2 years of banking experience. And the process is very, very different. People actually spend at least 4 or 5 years as an operations head, and then probably think about it. And then when they start with a new branch. And I was like, tell me what I need to do to become a branch manager of this particular branch. And he was probably a little amused, and I think he liked me a little bit. So he said that, why don't you give it a shot? Why don't you, talk to the zonal heads and all? So I said, and he gave me the podium, be prepared, come, that you would want to handle this branch. And I did become the branch manager within 3 months of that. And then 6 months down the line, there was a Hall of Fame that happened with the zonal head only. And he actually mentioned this incident that, this is the first time I took a risk and turned out to be true. So, because I knew the branch, because I knew what will work in that aspect. And for me, a branch was like a business. Being a Madu, like, how can I run this business well? And so on and so forth. Some other examples came in my life, and I really thought that, how do I challenge it? How do I change the norms? In the banking phase of my career, which was the first 5-6 years, and then I moved into the private wealth space, I was very process oriented even then. So I liked changing processes. I was a part of more than, I think, 20 process changes, which the bank did. It was pretty interesting to try a new process, pilot it in your branch, and see whether it works or not. So the point I want to make is, while people are telling you that, this is probably a little unconventional, little something that you haven't tried, they haven't tried, maybe there is a way to try it out. Maybe there is something that you should do to try it out. There are various examples around. If we talk about Jeff Bezos, we talk about Elon Musk. When Elon Musk actually came into thought process, his thought process came into existence that, I want to make electric cars as mainstream. I'm pretty sure people will laugh about it. I think he just not did that, but he revolutionized the whole electric car, and also a sustainable way of transport. Same thing happened with Jeff Bezos, that when Amazon took up an online book delivery to your store, nobody thought it will revolutionize the entire food delivery and other items also. So I think an idea, is as crazy as you think it is crazy, and when it gets accepted by the world, it actually becomes a revolution on its own. So one of the ideas that I want everyone to think of is don't get challenged by the radical thinking. They have obviously gone their own journey, but I think you should have a radical thinking process. You should challenge certain things that you want to achieve. But as I said, there is a method to the madness. There cannot be just a wish or a hopefulness. You really need to have a method. So I had my own methods. I'll give a sneak peek on my method. It's like, once I've decided that I need to do something, I have to be doubly sure about proving it right. Okay, so I have to prepare well. So what are your arms and ammunitions? Your arms and ammunitions actually are, you study the subject well, you know the concepts well, and you know what you need to do. So how do you do it? You can't know everything, and you can't keep reading 20 hours a day, and I don't think anybody reads 20 hours a day today. So you go to the guys who are the best in the space, whether it is an individual or an institute or whatever. So when I wanted to learn banking, I went into Indian Institute of Banking and Finance to do my banking course. When I got into private banking, which was portfolio management, I got into IIM Ahmedabad and did my portfolio management course. When I got into international business, started dealing with clients abroad and family offices abroad, I got into IFT, which is Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, did my executive course out there, and did an international business course out there, which is considered to be one of the best in the international business space. When I got into a CEO level course, which is about 18 months back, I did a 1-year course with Oxford for the senior management programs, one of the oldest institutes. So institutes matter, you know. For me, my recipe was that train yourself well, make your thought process, and at every level will require a different you. You would have heard this 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, you know, that every level will require a different you. And you need to invest for that level. So I tried and did whatever I could do. Been called, like even at the age of 34, 35, I'm studying and I'm doing some courses, and people are like, why are you still studying? You're growing pretty well. But then I really think those are the courses that actually helps me, you know, compared to a scenario where I'm today saying that a lot of people are not even doing some courses, and, you know, a dropper who made it big. So it could be a very, very good scenario to be in. But for me, my method to madness is learn the subject well, go to the right guys who can train you well for the subject, and be unabashedly very aggressive about your goals. I think today's problems are pretty unconventional themselves. Like, we would have never thought 30 years, 40 years ago that climate change, healthcare, you know, energy consumptions, these are new problems. These are very different problems than what somebody would have thought. And unconventional problems need unconventional solutions. They cannot come from the traditional mindset. So, and by the way, I wanted to add this, that when I went to Oxford, the first day of the course, after 16 years of work ex, 17 years of work ex, was like, this era is the era of not thinking out of the box. This era is the era of crazy ideas. And I was taken aback, and that was first slide in the course, and I was like, okay. And the examples were Elon Musk, Richard Branson, and so on and so forth. So I think thinking out of the box, incremental innovations are all passé right now. These are different problems which will need different solutions. And hence, embrace your crazy ideas, be a little crazy, and have a method to your crazy. I think that will help us all. Thank you so much. I think I'll end up with that. Thank you.